Myles Garrett just officially became available for a trade. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. And subscribe it up. We're on the road to 17K. Can't do it without you guys. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the latest breaking news that ended up dropping probably about an hour and a half ago from recording this video. And that's the fact that Myles Garrett officially put in his request to be traded out of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I want to say this real quick. We've been talking about this for a very, very long time with the idea that Myles Garrett might want out of Cleveland, and this just reassures that he wants to be in another uniform heading into 2025, which absolutely makes sense. Huge shout out here to Myles Garrett for making this statement out here. Obviously, one of the biggest news that everybody's talking about right now is Myles Garrett. Now, the NBA tried it a couple days ago when Luka Doncic ends up going to the LA Lakers, but obviously the NFL is king at the end of the day, and this is going to take the league by storm because we're talking about one of the best defensive pass rushers that we've seen come out of college in a very, very long time, and it's consistently doing it year in and year out. So huge news for the NFL, who potentially can land this guy is probably going to be automatically a playoff contender / a Super Bowl contender. So really excited to see if the Cardinals do decide to make a move. Now, of course, with the idea that the Cleveland Browns right now, they're nowhere near in a state to compete, and there's just a lot of unknown questions when it comes down to the Cleveland Browns right now. Obviously with Deshaun Watson, I know they went ahead and restructured his contract, but at the end of the day, there's just so many unknowns within that organization right now. That's one of the best defensive players is coming out and saying, hey, I want out, right? Now, I want to give a huge shout out here to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. This is where I first originally saw this tweet in terms of the statement, and this is what Myles Garrett ended up putting out. As a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man that I am today. While I love calling the city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It has always been to compete for and to win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett. Now, that's a new, absolutely huge statement right there. Now, there's some people out there that feel like Myles Garrett is going to be a Hall of Famer, but obviously, he's still got some things to accomplish within the NFL, so he's not even thinking of Canton right now. He's thinking of, how am I going to win a Super Bowl, and how am I going to be able to compete? Let's look at the Cleveland Browns. They're not very competitive at all. Now, you could say the same thing for the Arizona Cardinals, but right now, with where we are at in this rebuild process, we're going into year 3. How many more years do the Cardinals need to quote unquote rebuild, right? This might be one of the biggest years of Kyler Murray's career, and why not give him one of the best defensive players in the entirety of the league? So am I on board for the Cardinals to potentially go after a Myles Garrett? Of course I am, right? Now, the big question is, what are we going to give up, right? What are the Cardinals going to potentially give up for one of the best defensive players in the NFL right now? Well, that's one of the biggest questions out there, because although the Cardinals can either go a couple different ways to address that closer / X factor route in this, offseason, which already kicked off. We have the Super Bowl, in like 6 days right now. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not really excited about watching this matchup, but it is what it is. I'm excited about March. I'm excited about to see what this Arizona Cardinals roster is going to look like heading into 2025, and adding a piece like Myles Garrett when we had a defense that actually exceeded my expectations with the players that we had on this roster. Like, they played better than most people want to give them credit for. Give them a player like Myles Garrett, it's going to absolutely change this defense for the best, right? Nick Rallis, as well as Jonathan Gannon, obviously a defensive-minded head coach, is going to be licking their chops. He's never had a guy under the, under the Arizona Cardinals regime that he's currently in right now, a guy like Myles Garrett. He's never had. We gotten guys that were late round picks. We gotten guys that unfortunately were not able to stay healthy. We got guys that's, that we kind of try to get from waiver claims. Like, that's all great and all. You can get some gems, but if there's a guy out there that is wanting out of his organization, like a Myles Garrett, you need to pick up the phone. Like at the end of the day, I know we always say to ourselves, is this a Monty move? I think that should be getting thrown out the window. This guy is a perfect example of a pro, an absolute pro. Now, if you sit back and say, oh, he wants out of Cleveland, we don't want that drama. It's not even nothing to do with drama. He hasn't caused a rift within the locker room. He's just telling it straight up. There's no future for him in the Cleveland Browns to win a Super Bowl within the next 2 or 3 years. That's just not going to happen. So if you're going to sit back, right, and I know some pessimistic Cardinal fans out there saying, well, do you think that the Cardinals are going to win a Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would love to say yes, but I feel like we're in a better state than the Cleveland Browns is. And if he wants to compete to be on a big stage, and I'm talking about potentially playoffs, division wins, you can probably get that better with the Cardinals than you can with the Cleveland Browns in terms of the state where we are at compared to where they are at. So when you're looking at who potentially can go after a Myles Garrett, I feel like the Cardinals should be somewhere up there because we are in dire need of a pass rusher. And a pass rusher like Myles Garrett doesn't come around very often. Now, like I said, the Cardinals can address this either through free agency or the draft. Now, the draft is very, very tricky. Now, can we get lucky and get our own Jared first? Yeah, you can, right? Paying him on a rookie deal. He seeks expectations and he does very, very well in his rookie year. Believe it or not, that doesn't come around very often. It really doesn't. Now, you can go through free agency. Yeah, I mean, but who's going to be available, right? You got guys like Josh Sweat, which I really do like. Potentially Azeez Ojulari, which I do like as well. But are they Myles Garrett's? They're not. They're not, right? But they are an upgrade from who we have. So I think whatever route the Cardinals go, it's going to be an upgrade as long as we address that edge rushing core in this year's, off season, right? But if you look at Myles Garrett, man, it's no surprise here that, man, a 29-year-old guy right now that has double-digit sacks in every single year he's been in the NFL, with the exception of his rookie year in 2017, and he had, 7 sacks? So 7 sacks, 13.5 in 18, in 2019, 10 sacks, 2020, 12, 2021, 16, 2022, 16, 2023, 14, 2024, 14. So double digits is what he knows. Double digits is what we need. We need a guy that's going to be an automatic dog / X factor, and this is probably as good as it comes. Now, let's take a look at his contract, right? We mentioned this before, 29 years old. He's up there in age. So what is he getting paid right now? He's paid actually his contract is actually into the, well, technically, he's actually just paid up into the 2026 season, technically. He's got a lot of voided out years on his contract. He got a massive extension by the Cleveland Browns, but his guaranteed salary, actually, now looking at this, his guaranteed salary actually ends in 2024. Yeah, 2024. So let me rephrase it. Let me flash this here on the screen because his contract is a little confusing. In 2024, his guaranteed salary actually ends. So in 2025, he's not playing with any guaranteed salary. So are you going to be looking at a deal where we might have to restructure his contract? Potentially, right? I don't know if I feel confident paying him till, this contract is actually in place until 2031. But like I said before, there's a lot of voidable years on this contract. The voided out years actually starts in 2027. So you got this guy for 2025 and 2026 unless you decide to, extend him or restructure the contract or whatever the situation might be. This is going to be a big potential breaking news type of situation if the Cardinals were to go somewhere or do something like this. Can the Cardinals do something like this? Well, we haven't seen Monty Ossenfort do something like this, so it would be a first if this were to happen. Is he going to be expensive? Is he going to, get a lot of draft picks, going away? Yeah, absolutely. He might be going for our 16th overall pick, for sure, which is our first round pick. Maybe even a third round pick as well, maybe this year or next year, maybe even a second round pick next year as well. This is going to be a big move for any team going after a Myles Garrett because you're paying for his production, and his production is darn good. So things to digest on this. There's a lot of things to digest, but I'm not going to lie to you. Pick up the phone. Listen in. Let's hear what they want, right? Let's hear what the Cleveland Browns want. If it's something that we can attain, then hey, why not go for it? I get it. You losing a 16th overall pick in the first round, it sucks because it doesn't make the first round of the draft exciting because we don't have a first round pick. But still, You got Myles Garrett heading into 2025. You can't complain about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask you guys this question. Do you want Myles Garrett in an Arizona Cardinal uniform heading into 2025? Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.